All right. Welcome back, everybody, to the Know Your Numbers REI podcast. This is your host, Chris McCormack, and I'm excited to be bringing this message to you today. I trust everybody's year is off to a hot start. As always, if you get any sort of value out of this, go ahead and give us a 5-star rating and review, and even better, share it with a friend. Today's message is one that a lot of people need to hear, and I am excited and passionate about the topic that we'll be covering, and I think it needs to be in the ears of many more people. So with that in mind, ratings and review help us get in the ears and in the eyes of listeners who are interested and would learn quite a bit from this, and we can't do that without you. So please do us a favor and share it should you think that it is a valuable episode. Today's topic is around retirement accounts, specifically one retirement account, that is the Roth IRA. And we're going to be covering a story that broke a few years ago, but it is a powerful story about the possibilities that are available to people that are using retirement accounts and some of the things that you should be aware of as we consider retirement accounts. Everybody has a different life. Everybody has a different view on this world. Everybody has a different set of goals, and that's going to play into the decisions you make with your money. And that's why we say, do not take this tax planning or financial insight that we offer here on the podcast or on the YouTube channel and run with it as if it's made for you. We do tax planning for individuals where we meet with them on a regular basis, because tax planning and tax work in general is very personal. It varies from person to person. And for far too long, we've been creating it to be this one-size-fits-all approach, and it is not. And today we're going to be talking about a tax approach that somebody had that was fit for his lifestyle, but might not be fit for your lifestyle. And that person is Mr. Peter Thiel, the founder of PayPal, and he used a humdrum retirement account, the Roth IRA, to amass a large fortune for himself that will eventually come to him completely tax-free. But this is not to say that you should go and use Peter Thiel's approach and use it for yourself, because we'll be diving into some of the things that had to go right for him, some of the things that he risked in order to make this possible, and why we might find ourselves on the supportive side of it when a lot of people think that it should not be allowed. So with all that in mind, what is the Roth IRA? You could be very well familiar with the Roth IRA. Maybe you're just hearing about it for the first time, but it is a retirement account that when you reach the age of 59 and a half will come to you tax-free. So with retirement accounts, there are tax-free buckets, there are tax-deferred buckets. The Roth IRA is part of that tax-free bucket in that you put money into it now, it grows, and you withdraw after the age requirements, and that money comes to you tax-free. Now, you do pay taxes on it. You're paying into it after tax dollars by way of your salary or your business, but it does grow tax-free. So many people have looked to this as a retirement supplement, as a way to grow certain amounts of wealth, but there are restrictions. You can only contribute a certain amount of money to your retirement account, to your Roth IRA. In 2024, those under 50 can only contribute $7,000. People over 50 can contribute an additional $1,000. So it can be hard to amass a certain amount of wealth over a given time period with those low contribution limits, which is why it's usually a retirement supplement and should not be relied on fully for your retirement. But if you're like Peter Thiel, you can take great advantage of it. And so the Roth IRA came out in 1997. There was tax change, a tax law that's passed and introduced the Roth IRA. I believe it was a congressman out of Delaware whose last name was Roth, who was the main person behind this bill. But it was an effort to create retirement, tax-free retirement savings for what they deemed to be the middle-class Americans who could contribute a certain amount of money every year, and they could rely on that as their retirement nest egg. In 97, it started as the contribution limits were just $2,000. Couldn't contribute more than $2,000 to this account. And so people would do this, and it would be their reliable retirement nest egg. Well, little did Congress know that somebody by the name of Peter Thiel would be working in his garage or somewhere else on a venture that he just knew would make it big. That is PayPal, what we know today to be PayPal. And so Peter Thiel started PayPal with another co-founder. I believe it was at the end of 1998. So note the timing. It just seems that the timing of all of this worked out very well for Peter Thiel. As the tax law changed in 97, he created his company in 98 with the idea of bringing it public in the future. So he was able to, as the founder, create the company and buy stocks of this company that he envisioned as going public and being available for the public. So when you create a company and before you go public, you are able to buy into your company at a stock price that you deem to be reasonable and that the market would also deem to be reasonable. And that's what Peter Thiel did. He invested $1.7 million into PayPal, 1.7 million of his own dollars into PayPal, buying stocks at less than a penny a share. I believe it was 1/10 of a penny is what the selling price of PayPal was when Peter Thiel invested in it. So he was able to get 1.7 million shares at $1,700. So yes, he did not have $1.7 million. He invested $1,700 of his own dollars into PayPal, which was trading at 1/10 of a cent, which was equal to 1.7 million shares of PayPal. Now you're like, why are we talking about this in a retirement account discussion? Well, the fun thing is that he used his Roth IRA to invest in those shares of PayPal because he contributed the $1,700 to his Roth IRA, again, a tax-free retirement vehicle. The Roth IRA then invested in the shares of PayPal. He had 1.7 million shares with $1,700. And as PayPal grew, his Roth IRA balance grew. Fast forward to 2002, I believe, is when PayPal rose to a point that eBay comes in and purchases it. In 2002, eBay buys PayPal for $1.5 billion, which makes Thiel's account value grow to $55.5 million, all in his Roth IRA account. Following me this far, he invests $1,700 into his Roth IRA. The Roth IRA invests in this small startup called PayPal, which Peter Thiel has created. Peter Thiel and his co-founders start working to build this thing up, and they get it to a level that eBay, which at the time in 2002 was a very well-known company, they were selling things online. Again, this is the time of the dot-com bubble where everything's going onto the internet. eBay comes in, buys PayPal. PayPal gets a big payout, and Peter Thiel's account grows to $55.5 million. But that is not all. Peter Thiel is now involved in the Silicon Valley network. He's able to hear about some of these other startups that people are talking about. And one thing that comes across his desk, per se, is this guy out in Cambridge, Massachusetts, starting something that will later be known as Facebook. Peter Thiel takes money that was in his Roth IRA account, $500,000 to be exact, and invests it in this little-known company, little-known venture by a man of the name Mark Zuckerberg, who is on his way to creating Facebook. And that $500,000, along with the $55 million in Peter Thiel's account, eventually grows to $5 billion in 2019. So, mind you, Peter Thiel has a Roth IRA account, which just got introduced by the time he's starting his company, invests $1,700 in that. And by the time 2019 rolls around, it has now reached the balance of $5 billion. Now, Peter Thiel will be coming up on his 59th and in between his 59th and 60th birthday here in 2027, which will mean as that account continues to grow, he will reach the age where he can begin to take withdrawals of the account, and that money will come to him completely tax-free. So if you're thinking of numbers, Peter Thiel is on the verge of tapping into a retirement account that has grown to about $5 billion. Who's to say it won't be $6 billion by the time he reaches that age requirement, and all of it will be able to be withdrawn completely tax-free. But it has brought on a lot of criticism and a lot of questions as to whether this should even be allowed. People want these mega billionaires and trillionaires to be paying their fair share of taxes. And if it's all put into a tax-free account, then they're unable to, or they're not forced to. So there was a big issue. I think it was 2021 is when the story broke, maybe back in 2019. But Thiel and the Internal Revenue Code started facing a lot of criticism, saying that he was able to amass this unfathomable amount of wealth completely tax-free, and Congress allowed it. You know, I believe they even went to court, and the tax court did not fall down on Thiel. They actually backed Thiel up as Congress and the United States regulators worked against him. And from what I know, the court basically said, if you don't like the way that this account is being used, then don't create it in the first place. Remember, this account was created in 97. Thiel deposited money into it in 98. And now by the time of 2021 and now 2024, he has been able to amass an incredible amount of wealth in a tax-free Roth retirement account. If you're thinking that a lot had to go right for him, you are correct. He, again, contributed into it a year after the account was introduced. There's some timing that has to just be right for him in order to take advantage of that. There's also the investment in PayPal. Remember, he's a founder of this company. This is great risk. This is what entrepreneurship and business ownership is all about, is that risk that comes with saying, I am not going to look to other options. I'm going to put everything I have in this company and it better pay off. It paid off for Thiel, but who's to say that there are thousands of other founders out there that have done the same exact thing and it hasn't worked out for them. So for those that criticize Peter Thiel, remember the amount of risk that was behind this and the amount of thinking that had to come into his mind, knowing in his heart that this would pay off, that I'm going to contribute $1,700 to this Roth IRA account and it's going to be worth something in the future. There is risk involved in that. There is uncertainty involved in that. And that's what Thiel is doing here. So what are you to do with this? As the real estate investor, the person starting in their business, should you go and park all your money in a Roth IRA? No, because, well, one, it's not allowed. Remember, there's limits on the amount that you can contribute to the Roth IRA. But I think it's worth a consideration, right? There are now self-directed options that are available to you to go and contribute money to a Roth IRA and invest in your startup, invest in your real estate. Now, it takes a lot of capital to invest in real estate. So is this the best way to do so? I will let you and your accountant determine that, but understand that there is great power in these accounts as they are currently set up. But also know that everybody's tax situation is different. We meet with tens of 20s of real estate investors and business owners every month, and not one of them has an exact replica of the other, right? They all have different amounts of property. They're all in different stages of life. They have different family situations. They have different job situations. These play into whether you make a decision to put money in a Roth IRA account or just in real estate in general, or maybe leave business, leave your work and start a business altogether. I'm telling you that Peter Thiel took great advantage of something that was at his disposal, and you can too if you're working with the right people. I'm thinking that Peter Thiel had some people in his ear saying this is a good option, right? This would be worth your while. $1,700, what is that? You can put that in an account and invest in your company, which you desire to go public in 3 years. And eventually that money will come to you tax-free if you're patient enough, right? Because we're also talking, he got the payout of $55 million in 2002. It is now 2023, and I don't think he's had a withdrawal of that money. So he's sitting on a nest egg of $5.5 billion that he's not currently tapping into. He's used that money to compound and invest elsewhere. And that's a huge part of this too, is the idea of patience and allowing your wealth to accumulate. Again, that's another thing we see, is that people want tax strategy to just in an instant change their life. And we've seen the ability to do that. We've gotten clients to have pretty big refunds in the first year of working with us, but it is a big time horizon that we're working with. So when you're considering your money and your finances and what you're going to do with it all, remember that time compounding over and over and over, money compounding over and over and over is what reaps the reward. Patience is a virtue, as they say. So for the average American, the Roth is a great option. Are you going to develop a $6 billion nest egg? I could probably very confidently say no, you are not. But it is an option. And don't think that because you are investing in real estate or doing whatever it is that you shouldn't consider the Roth IRA. Everything should be considered in your tax planning decisions. And then once you are clear on what your goals are, that is when you make the decision. And that's what we do here at Better Books, is we get clear on your goals. We get clear on some of the challenges that you've had. Listen, the tax code can be frustrating, it can be overwhelming, it can be confusing, but it doesn't have to be. Once we're clear on where you want to go, we will consider what the best option is for you moving forward. If that's something you're interested in, feel free to reach out to us. We are currently taking on new clients for this tax year and the tax planning year of 2024. Now is the time to save on tax. So until then, I trust that you got some value out of this. Understand that the tax code is there for you to use to your advantage. Peter Thiel is not the only one using the tax code to his advantage. He is one of the few that makes headlines for doing so, but we can do it and keep you out of the media as well. Until next time, God bless you all and keep moving forward.